soft candlelight flickered against the walls of the massage room. The fragrance of lavender filled the air, and the faint sound of water dripping somewhere in the background created a rhythm of calm. But Ada could not feel calm. Not tonight. Her heart pounded as she lay face down on the massage table, her hands gripping the sheet. The man behind her, tall, quiet, gentle, moved his hands across her back with practiced care. His touch was firm, tender, almost healing. But that was not what made her tremble. It was the scar. That faint scar on his arm. She had seen it before. Years ago. On someone who should not be here. On someone she thought she had lost forever. Ada swallowed hard, her voice shaking. "Who are you?" she whispered. The man paused. His hands froze mid-air. For a moment, the room fell silent. The candles burned, the air thick with tension. Then slowly, he leaned closer, his voice low, heavy with secrets. "Some things," he said, "are better not remembered." Her chest tightened. What did he mean? Why did his touch feel like comfort yet his words feel like danger? The massage room, meant to be a place of relaxation, had suddenly become a room of questions, a room of suspense, and perhaps, a room of love. This is Nightfall Tales by Wara, where stories are told not just to entertain, but to touch your heart and keep you on the edge of suspense. The city was noisy, restless, and unforgiving. Cars honked impatiently, people rushed along the sidewalks, and the sun burned hot against the tired faces of those who carried the burden of survival. In the middle of this chaos was Ada, a 28-year-old woman whose life seemed to be slipping out of her hands. She worked long hours in a corporate office where her efforts were rarely appreciated. Every day she returned home with swollen eyes, stiff shoulders, and a heart that longed for peace. On this particular Saturday, Ada felt something inside her break. She looked at her reflection in the mirror and whispered, "Ada, if you don't take a break, you will collapse." That was when she decided to do something she had never done before: book herself into a spa. Not just any spa, but one of the most luxurious in the city, the kind of place where candles burned all day and soft music filled the air. When she walked into the reception that afternoon, the difference was overwhelming. The cool fragrance of lavender greeted her, and soft instrumental music floated in the background. For the first time in months, her mind began to loosen. A receptionist smiled warmly at her. "Welcome, madam. You booked a full-body massage, correct?" "Yes," Ada answered softly. She was led into a dimly lit corridor lined with glowing candles. The receptionist opened a door and said, "This is your room. Your therapist will join you shortly." Ada stepped in. The massage room was beautiful. Low golden lights, scented oils neatly arranged on a wooden shelf, and a perfectly made bed in the center. It was calm, inviting, and almost too quiet, the kind of silence that makes you both relax and wonder. She lay down, closing her eyes, waiting for whoever was about to walk in. She had no idea her life was about to change. The door creaked open. Ada lifted her head slightly. A tall man walked in, dressed in a clean white uniform, carrying a tray with oils and warm towels. "Good afternoon, Ma," he said gently. "My name is Chike. I'll be your therapist today. Please relax. You're in safe hands." Something about his voice was soothing, almost like a melody. Ada nodded and closed her eyes again. He began with her shoulders. His hands were firm but gentle, pressing into her stiff muscles as though he understood exactly where she hurt. The tension she carried from long days at work seemed to melt away under his touch. But what unsettled Ada was not just the relief, it was the way he touched her. Not inappropriately, no. But there was a kind of tenderness in his hands, a deliberate care that felt personal. She had received massages before, but this was different. At one point, she opened her eyes and saw his face in the soft glow of the candles. He looked serious, almost sad. His eyes carried a story she could not read. "Are you okay?" she asked suddenly. He paused, then gave a small smile. "Yes, madam. Just focused on your comfort." But Ada was not convinced. For a moment, it felt as though this man was carrying pain deeper than her own, and somehow, in his way, he was transferring healing to her. By the time the session ended, Ada felt like a new person. Her body was lighter, her heart calmer. She sat up slowly, watching Chike wipe his hands. "Thank you," she said sincerely. "That was different." He looked at her, and their eyes met longer than necessary. "You're welcome, madam," he replied softly. For reasons she couldn't explain, Ada walked out of that room carrying not just relief, but a new curiosity. For the rest of the day, Ada couldn't stop thinking about him. The calmness in his voice, the sorrow hidden in his eyes, the way his hands seemed to speak more than his lips ever did. That night, while she prepared dinner in her small apartment, her mind kept replaying the image of his face. And then it hit her, the scar. During the massage, she had noticed a faint scar running across his arm. It wasn't the kind of scar one gets from an accident, it looked old, deliberate, almost like a wound from the past. But what startled her was that she had seen a similar scar before. Years ago. On someone close to her family. Someone she thought she had lost. Her spoon dropped into the pot. Wait, could it be, she whispered to herself. The thought unsettled her. Was this man really just a random massage therapist? Or was there more to him than the walls of that room revealed? The suspense tugged at her heart. She knew she had to return. Not just for the massage, but for the mystery of the man whose touch healed her body, yet whose silence haunted her soul. The following week, Ada found herself back at the spa. She told herself it was for relaxation, but deep inside, she knew it was more than that. She wanted to see him again. When she walked into the massage room, Chike was already there, arranging the oils. His eyes lit up briefly when he saw her, but he quickly hid the smile. "You're back," he said softly. Ada laughed nervously. "Yes. I guess I enjoyed it the last time." He nodded, gesturing to the table. "Please, lie down. Let's help you feel lighter again." As his hands moved across her back, Ada closed her eyes. But this time, she wasn't just paying attention to the relief in her muscles, she was paying attention to him. The warmth of his hands. The pauses between his movements. The silence that carried meaning. Then, something unexpected happened. Chike whispered so softly that Ada almost thought she imagined it. "You carry too much in your heart." Her eyes flew open. "What did you say?" He froze, realizing he had spoken aloud. "I'm sorry, madam. Just, sometimes I can feel it when someone is hurting. You don't have to answer me." Ada's throat tightened. How could he see through her so easily? For months, she had been battling stress, heartbreak from a failed relationship, and loneliness. And here was this stranger, touching her soul without words. She wanted to ask him more, but her heart beat too fast. So she kept quiet, and in that silence, a new bond began to grow, fragile, delicate, and full of unspoken affection. That night, Ada stayed behind after work, her mind restless. She couldn't shake the feeling that Chike was more than he appeared. The next time she visited the spa, she arrived a little earlier than usual. From the waiting lounge, she could hear faint voices down the hallway. One of them was Chike's. She leaned closer, her heart racing. "Her name is Ada," Chike whispered. "Yes. I know who she is. But she must not find out yet." Ada's stomach dropped. Find out what? What secret was he hiding? Before she could listen further, footsteps approached. She quickly sat back down, pretending to scroll on her phone. A moment later, Chike walked into the hallway. His face was calm, but she could sense something brewing inside him. During the massage session, Ada couldn't concentrate. Every touch reminded her of what she had heard. She wanted to ask him outright, but something stopped her. Instead, she watched him closely, her eyes drawn once again to that scar. "Chike," she finally said, her voice soft, "have we met before?" He hesitated. His hands stilled on her shoulders. Then slowly, he shook his head. "No, madam. This is the first time. But Ada knew he was lying. 2 days later, Ada received a call from her mother. They hadn't spoken in weeks, but the voice on the other end was warm. Ada, I found some old photographs while cleaning the house, her mother said. You should come by this weekend. Curious, Ada visited. Her mother handed her an old album. As Ada flipped through the pages, her heart skipped. There, in a faded picture taken years ago, was a young boy standing beside her late father. The boy had a familiar scar on his arm. Ada's hand trembled. Mama, who is this? Her mother smiled faintly. Ah, that was Chike, the son of one of your father's workers. You don't remember him? He lived with us for a short while before his family moved away. He was always around the house, very close to your father. Ada's heart stopped. So she was right. The massage therapist was no stranger. He was someone from her past. But why had he hidden it? Why pretend not to know her? She clutched the photograph to her chest, her mind spinning. The massage room wasn't just a place of healing anymore, it was the place where her past had returned, carrying secrets she wasn't sure she was ready to face. Ada couldn't sleep. The picture of Chike as a boy haunted her mind. Why was he pretending? Why act like a stranger when he had once been part of her family's life? She returned to the spa with her heart pounding. The moment she saw him, her emotions burst. Chike, stop lying to me, she snapped, her voice trembling. Why are you pretending we've never met? I saw your picture. You lived in our house. You knew my father. The room fell silent. Chike froze, his hands tightening on the oil bottle. His eyes met hers, no more hiding, no more denial. Yes, he said at last, his voice low and heavy. I knew your father. I knew you. I never wanted you to remember me like this. I wanted you to see me only as the man I am today, not the boy I once was. Ada's breath caught. Her anger softened, replaced with confusion and a dangerous warmth in her chest. Then why hide it, she whispered. Chike stepped closer, his eyes burning with intensity. Because, Ada. Every time I touched you, every time I healed your pain, I was fighting something inside me. I wasn't just giving you relief, I was falling for you. And I didn't want my past to ruin the present. The air between them grew hot, charged with emotions neither could deny. Ada's heart raced, her body trembling. For the first time, she realized what her soul had been craving, not just peace, but him. Love had barely begun to bloom when danger entered. One evening, as Ada left the spa, a sleek black car pulled up. The window rolled down, revealing a man in a crisp designer suit, flashing a perfect smile. Hello, beautiful, he said smoothly. My name is Kola. I've seen you around this spa more than once. Can I take you to dinner? Ada was startled but intrigued. Kola was confident, charming, and clearly wealthy. His energy was the opposite of Chike's quiet humility. Though she declined politely, Kola was persistent. He sent flowers to her office, left handwritten notes at her doorstep, and even waited for her outside the spa. His attention made Ada feel wanted, but it also complicated her heart. Chike noticed. One evening, as Ada walked into the massage room, he asked softly. Who was the man in the black car? She blinked, caught off guard. Why does it matter? His jaw tightened, his hands pausing mid-motion. Because every time I see him with you, it burns inside me. Ada, I can't pretend anymore, I don't just care for you. I want you. I want all of you. Ada's chest tightened, her pulse racing. His voice was raw, hungry, unfiltered. For the first time, Chike's emotions burst past his calm mask. She closed her eyes, torn between the dangerous allure of Kola and the tender, consuming fire of Chike. The massage room suddenly felt smaller, hotter, charged with tension that could no longer be ignored. Days turned into nights, and Ada's heart was caught between two worlds. With Kola, she had luxury, promises of status, and the comfort of an easy life. With Chike, she had something deeper, unexplainable, magnetic, a love that terrified her because it felt too real. But then came the blow. One evening, Ada arrived at the spa earlier than usual. Through the slightly open door of the massage room, she saw Chike talking to another staff member. His words pierced her heart. Yes. I know her family well. I was close to her father. But Ada must not find out the whole truth. Not yet. If she does, I'll lose her forever. Ada staggered back, her world spinning. What truth? What else was he hiding? When Chike entered the room minutes later, his usual warmth in his eyes, Ada couldn't even look at him the same way. Are you okay? He asked gently. Her lips trembled. She wanted to scream, to demand answers, but instead she whispered. Chike. I don't know if I can trust you anymore. The words broke him. He froze, his hands falling helplessly by his sides. And in that moment, the massage room, once their sanctuary of affection, became a battlefield of love, betrayal, and secrets too powerful to stay buried. Ada couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, Chike's words echoed. If she finds out the whole truth, I'll lose her forever. The question tormented her, what truth? The next evening, she returned to the spa but not for a massage. She came quietly, hiding in the shadows of the corridor. From the dark, she watched Chike as he arranged oils and candles with his usual calm precision. Then, she heard a voice, Kola's. Yes, I know who you are, Chike. You can't hide forever. Chike stiffened, his hands tightening on the massage table. Leave Ada out of this, he said coldly. Kola chuckled, a sound too smooth, too dangerous. You think you can love her with all your secrets? You think she won't hate you when she finds out what you really are? Ada's blood ran cold. Her knees nearly buckled. What did Kola mean? What was Chike hiding that even her rival knew? She pressed herself against the wall, her heart thundering as the suspense grew unbearable. The confrontation with Kola left Chike on edge. He became distant, his massages filled with an energy that felt more like restraint than relaxation. Ada could feel it, every touch was heavier, every silence longer. Finally, one evening, she couldn't hold back anymore. She turned on the table, reaching for his hand, her eyes burning. Chike, stop running from me. If you want me, say it. If you're hiding something, tell me. I can't live in this half-world anymore. For the first time, Chike's control shattered. His voice broke, rough with passion. Ada, don't you understand? Every time I touch you, I'm at war with myself. I want to hold you, kiss you, make you mine, but if you knew what I've done, you would never let me near you again. Ada's breath caught. She felt the heat in his words, the fire in his eyes. The distance between them dissolved as he stepped closer, his hand grazing her cheek, his lips hovering inches away. The room burned with longing. For a moment, it felt like nothing else mattered, not Kola, not secrets, not the past. Just two souls on the edge of surrender. But just as their lips nearly met, Chike pulled back, his chest heaving. No, he whispered hoarsely. Not like this. Not until you know the truth. The suspense thickened, hotter than ever. The next day, Ada decided she couldn't live in the dark any longer. She confronted Chike directly. Tell me everything, she demanded, her voice trembling. No more half-truths. No more silence. Who are you to me? What are you hiding? Chike's shoulders slumped, the weight of his secret pressing down. His voice was low, broken. Ada, years ago, I wasn't just some boy in your father's house. I was part of something darker. Your father trusted me, but I betrayed that trust. The scar on my arm isn't just a wound, it's a reminder of a night that changed everything. Ada's heart pounded, fear and love twisting together. What happened that night, Chike? She whispered. He closed his eyes, pain flickering across his face. If I tell you, you'll never look at me the same way again. And before he could continue, the door burst open. Kola stepped inside, his eyes blazing with triumph. Tell her, Chike. Or I will. Ada gasped, her world spinning. The man she was falling for and the man chasing her heart were tied together by a secret she wasn't ready to hear. The massage room was no longer just a place of affection, it had become the stage for a revelation that could either bind her to Chike forever, or destroy them both. The room froze as Kola's voice thundered. "Tell her, Chike. Or I will." Ada's heart raced. Her gaze darted between the two men, one burning with quiet love, the other crackling with dangerous energy. Chike's fists clenched, his voice low and sharp. "This isn't your game, Kola. Stay out of it." But Kola only smirked, stepping closer to Ada. "Stay out of it? When I already know the truth? Ada, he's not the man you think he is. He carries blood on his hands." Ada gasped. Her knees weakened. Chike's eyes closed in pain, his jaw tightening as if every word was a knife to his chest. "Don't listen to him," Chike whispered, desperate. "Yes, I have a past. Yes, I've made mistakes. But every touch, every word I've given you is real. I love you, Ada. I love you in ways I can't even explain." The confession ripped out of him like fire. Ada's chest rose and fell, her emotions tangled: fear, desire, heartbreak, longing. The air was thick, heavy, almost unbearable. For the first time in her life, she realized she was standing between two fires, one of passion, one of danger. And both could consume her. Ada stormed out of the spa, her mind spiraling. But Chike followed. "Ada, wait." She stopped under the dim streetlight, her tears glistening. "Why didn't you tell me before? Why did you let me fall for you without knowing who you really are?" He reached for her, his hand trembling as it brushed her cheek. "Because I was afraid. Afraid that once you knew, you'd walk away forever. I couldn't lose you, Ada. Not after everything I've lost already." His voice broke, his eyes raw with pain. And in that moment, Ada's anger cracked, replaced by the unbearable truth: she wanted him. She wanted him despite the secrets, despite the danger, despite everything. Chike's lips hovered over hers, his breath hot, his heartbeat wild. "Tell me to stop, and I'll stop," he whispered. But Ada didn't stop him. Their lips crashed together, fierce and desperate. It wasn't gentle, it was fire meeting fire. His arms pulled her in, her body melting against his. The kiss was hunger, confession, and surrender all at once. The world disappeared. For that night, under the shadows of the street, it was only them, two broken souls burning in a love too powerful to resist. The morning after was different. Ada woke with her heart pounding, the memory of Chike's kiss still on her lips. But reality was waiting. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You don't know who you're in love with. Meet me tonight, or you'll regret it." Ada froze. Her hands shook as she read it again. She knew it was Kola. That evening, she met him in a quiet cafe. His eyes gleamed as he slid a file across the table. "Do you want to know the truth about your precious Chike?" Ada's fingers trembled as she opened the file. Inside were photographs, documents, evidence of a night long ago, a robbery gone wrong, a fire, her father's business nearly destroyed, and Chike's name buried inside it all. Her world shattered. Kola leaned closer, his voice silky and dangerous. "He's not just hiding from his past, Ada. He's hiding from you. Walk away from him, and choose me instead. I'll give you a future without lies." Tears welled in Ada's eyes. She wanted to scream, to deny it, to run back to Chike's arms. But the evidence in her hands was undeniable. The massage room, the kisses, the whispered promises, were they all built on lies? For the first time, Ada realized that loving Chike might not only break her heart, it might destroy her life. Ada clutched the file all night, her tears soaking the papers. By morning, her mind was made up. She couldn't keep drowning in secrets. When she entered the massage room, Chike's face lit up, but the smile died when he saw the file in her hands. Her voice trembled, but her eyes burned. "Is it true, Chike? Were you part of that night? Did you destroy my father's trust?" The room fell silent. The sound of her heartbeat roared louder than the candle flames. Chike's jaw tightened, his shoulders heavy. Slowly, painfully, he nodded. Yes. It's true. Ada staggered back, her chest tightening. You lied to me. All this time, you lied to me. Chike stepped forward, desperate, his voice breaking. Ada, I was young, stupid, and scared. I was dragged into something I didn't understand. But your father forgave me before he died. He gave me another chance. I swore never to walk that dark path again. Her tears fell freely now. And you thought hiding the truth would save us? No, he whispered, his hands trembling. I thought it would save you. Because I knew, once you saw the real me, you'd never love me again. Ada's heart was a battlefield. On one side was Kola, offering a life of wealth, stability, and no secrets. On the other was Chike, flawed and scarred, but the man her soul couldn't stop burning for. Kola's words echoed, he's hiding from you. Walk away before he ruins you. But when Ada looked into Chike's eyes, she saw not just guilt, she saw love so raw it made her whole body ache. That evening, Kola appeared again, confident as ever. He cornered her outside the spa, his voice low and commanding. Ada, stop torturing yourself. You belong with me. Forget Chike. He will only drag you down. Ada's voice shook. But what if I can't forget him? What if every piece of me already belongs to him? Kola's face darkened, his jaw clenching. Then you're a fool. And fools don't survive in this world. For the first time, Ada felt a shadow of fear around Kola, not just persistence, but a dangerous obsession. The next night, Ada met Chike one last time in the massage room. Candles flickered, lavender filled the air, but the tension was unbearable. She stood before him, her tears glistening, her voice trembling. I don't know how to love you when every truth about you cuts me open. But I also don't know how to walk away. Chike's hands shook as he reached for her. Then don't walk away. Stay. Let me prove to you that I'm not that boy anymore. Let me love you the way I should have from the beginning. Ada's breath hitched. The room spun with heat, desire, and heartbreak. Their lips met again, but this kiss was different, fierce, desperate, almost painful. It was love on the edge of collapse. And just when the moment burned hottest, the door burst open. Kola stood there, his eyes blazing, his voice like thunder. I warned you, Ada. If you won't choose me, then I'll make sure you regret choosing him. The room shattered into chaos. The love triangle was no longer just about desire. It had become a fight for survival. The silence in the massage room was sharp as a blade. Kola's shadow filled the doorway, his eyes blazing with fury. Ada, he said coldly, you've embarrassed me enough. I offered you the world, and you spit it back in my face. So now, you'll see who truly has the power. Chike stepped forward, shielding Ada with his body. His voice was steady but laced with fire. Leave her out of this, Kola. If you want me, take me. But you will never touch her. Kola's laugh was chilling. You? You're nothing but a ruined man clinging to lies. She deserves more. She deserves me. Ada's voice trembled as she stepped out from behind Chike. No, Kola. I don't want you. I never did. And no amount of threats will change that. For the first time, Kola's mask cracked. His eyes darkened with obsession, his fists tightening. If I can't have you, Ada, then no one will. The air snapped with danger. The candles flickered wildly, as though the room itself felt the storm about to break. The tension exploded. Kola lunged, fury in his eyes. Chike moved faster, grabbing him, the two men crashing into the massage table, shattering glass bottles and scattering oils across the floor. Ada screamed, her heart tearing in two. Stop. Please stop. But neither man listened. One fought with rage, the other with desperation. Chike, panting, pinned Kola against the wall. You'll never own her, Kola. Love isn't about control. It's about sacrifice. Kola spat back, his voice venomous. And what have you sacrificed? You ruined her family once and now you think you can save her? The words cut deep, but Chike's grip only tightened. His voice broke with raw emotion. I would die for her. The truth in his voice pierced the room like thunder. Ada, sobbing, rushed forward, her hands on Chike's arm. Please, stop. He's not worth it. You are. Her words shook him. Slowly, Chike let Kola go. The rival staggered, fury and humiliation twisting his face. This isn't over, Kola hissed, before storming out into the night. The room fell silent again, but now the silence was filled with heavy breathing, tears, and the overwhelming weight of survival. Ada turned to Chike, her chest heaving. You say you'd die for me. But I don't want your death, Chike. I want your life. I want your love. No more lies. No more secrets. Only us. Her words broke him open. He pulled her into his arms, his lips crashing onto hers with a mix of fire and tenderness. The kiss was everything: pain, forgiveness, desire, and hope all at once. In the flickering candlelight, amid the shattered glass and spilled oils, Ada finally chose not the man with wealth or power, but the man who loved her with every scar, every wound, every piece of his soul. The massage room, once a place of secrets, had become the place where love survived fire, betrayal, and danger. And for Ada and Chike, it became the room where their story truly began. And so, the story of Ada and Chike comes to an end. A woman who walked into a massage room searching for peace, found instead the fire of love, the sting of betrayal, and the weight of dangerous secrets. A man who once hid in shadows, scarred by his past, discovered that true love is not about running away, it is about standing, fighting, and sacrificing everything for the one your heart beats for. Kola's wealth and obsession could not win what was never his to claim. Because in the end, love is not bought, nor forced, it is chosen. And Ada chose not perfection, not safety, not power, but the scarred hands that trembled when they touched her, the broken man who would rather die than see her hurt. The massage room, once filled with silence and secrets, became the stage of a love that burned through fire and refused to die. And maybe, just maybe, it reminds us all that sometimes, love is not found in grand places or perfect moments. Sometimes, it is born in the most unlikely rooms. And survives because two hearts refuse to let go.